TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. In a joint IDF and ISA operation, Thai National Nattapong Pnta was recovered from captivity in the area of Rafah of the Southern Gaza Strip. The Islamic Republic of Iran rejects the latest American nuclear proposal aimed at achieving a diplomatic solution. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi acknowledges that Iran essentially maintains a less coordinated nuclear weapons program. The IDF continued to press ahead with its operations throughout the Gaza Strip over the weekend in yet another successful operation directed by IDF and ISA intelligence. The body of Nattapong Pnta, a Thai national, was recovered from the Rafah area in the Gaza Strip. Nattapong Pnta was abducted alive by terrorists of the captivity from Kibbutz Nir Oz on October 7, 2023, and was then murdered while in captivity by the murderous terrorist organization. Following the joint ISA and IDF recovery operation, an identification procedure was carried out, after which the Kingdom of Thailand and the family of Nattapong and the community of Nir Oz were all informed. Meanwhile, according to the IDF spokesperson's unit, the leader of captivity and one of his lieutenants were eliminated in separate attacks. It is important to highlight that the captivity terror organization was in part responsible for the murderous attack on the community of Nir Oz, to include the kidnapping and murder of several civilians of Israeli, German, and other nationalities, to include Shiri and her two babies, Ariel and Kfir Bibas. Separately, the IDF also operated in a subterranean compound beneath the European hospital in Khan Yunis, where troops found 11 bodies, to include the body of the former leader of Hamas's military wing, the Zardin al-Qassam brigades, namely Mohammed Sinwar.
We are here in the city of Khan Yunis. This is the European hospital right behind me. The European hospital in Khan Yunis. You can see the very big hole in the ground right in front of it. This is the entrance we opened for a very big command and control compound, Hamas command and control compound. Yet this is another example of the cynical use of Hamas, using civilians as human shields, using civilian infrastructure, hospitals, again and again. We find those infrastructure. We would prefer not to be here today. I would prefer not to, the IDF would prefer not to hit or target hospitals. We didn't target hospital. It is a big achievement for us, hitting in the outskirts of the hospital and around it without damaging the hospital.
General Defrin continued by highlighting that right underneath the emergency room of the European hospital, which was funded by European Union taxpayers, Hamas erected a compound of few rooms.
We found underneath the hospital, right under the emergency room, a compound of few rooms. In one of them, we killed Mohammed Sinwar. You can approve now. He was the brother of Yahya Sinwar, the previous leader of this murderous and terror organization, Hamas. He inherited him, and now he was the leader, and we killed him also. Together with him was Muhammad Shabane, who was the head of the Rafah brigade, and several more terrorists who died with him. We will keep going after them until we will achieve our goals. We have to remember, we have 55 hostages still in the hands of Hamas that are being tortured as we speak now, underground, in their tunnels.
Meanwhile, in the Mediterranean Sea, where pro-Hamas activists, to include former climate child activist Greta Thunberg, sought to breach Israel's blockade on the Gaza Strip, nevertheless, to their apparent dismay, they had reached the end of their self-promoting propaganda voyage. IDF troops boarded the vessel of the pro-Hamas activists, dubbed Madeleine, and after providing them with water and food, the sailboat was towed by an Israeli naval vessel to the port of Ashdod, after which they were due for deportation.
I
congratulate the IDF on the swift and safe takeover of the Maitland flotilla to prevent them from breaking the blockade and reaching the shores of Gaza. I have instructed the IDF to show the passengers of the flotilla the video of the horrors of the October 7th massacre when they arrive at the port of Ashdod. It is appropriate that the anti-Semitic Greta and her fellow Hamas supporters see exactly who the Hamas terrorist organization they came to support are, and for whom they are working, and what atrocities they committed against women, the elderly, and children, and against whom Israel is fighting. The IDF will continue its war against the Hamas murderers with all its moral righteousness until it is subdued and all the hostages are released and the security of the State of Israel is ensured.
Turning to Austria, where the International Atomic Energy Agency's Board of Governors opened their periodic meeting, where Iran's nuclear program topped the agenda. In a press briefing that followed the opening session, IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi acknowledged Iran's breach of its non-proliferation treaty commitments, while highlighting further that following 2003, during the course of which the Islamic Republic conducted several nuclear weapons tests, Tehran continued to maintain a nuclear program with related weaponization aspects.
Well, I think the report refers to this in the sense that until the early 2000s, in the assessment of the agency, there was such a thing, and after that, there are so fragmented fragments that could be relevant in this perspective, but there is not enough element or evidence to say that there is such a structured, systematic, well-organized program in this regard.
So you're saying this fits in the description that you give that the agency gave in its final assessment in 2015 of saying that there was essentially a structured, coordinated, weapons-relevant program until 2003, and then later there were sort of less coordinated sort of individual efforts that could have been weapons-relevant.
Yeah. In general terms, yes.
Okay.
Amid an Iranian ploy claiming it had retrieved documents about Israel's nuclear program in an attempt to alter discourse about its breach of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, Grossi highlighted, despite the fact that Israel is not a signatory of the NPT, that the IAEA was inspecting the civilian nuclear site in question.
We've seen the issue of the documents, you said. We've seen some reports on the press. We haven't had any official communication about this. In any case, this seems to refer to SOREC, which is a research facility which we inspect, by the way. Normally people tell me you don't inspect Israeli. Yeah, we do. We don't inspect other strategic parts of the program, but this part of the program we do inspect. Is a research reactor and a research facility.
Interestingly enough, the Iranians are seemingly determined to link European nations with Israel's alleged nuclear weapons program in a desperate effort by the Ayatollah regime to justify a nuclear weapons breakout.
A point that was already clear to us, but it seems will become even clearer to others based on this information and evidence, is the active participation of several European countries in the military nuclear program of the Zionist regime. This is highly significant for those who constantly speak of the need to prevent nuclear proliferation, yet repeatedly question the peaceful nuclear program of the Islamic Republic of Iran, while they themselves are actively involved in equipping and strengthening the military nuclear program of the Israeli regime.
The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman continued by announcing that the Ayatollah regime essentially rejects President Donald Trump's latest proposed nuclear deal, highlighting that it aims to relay a counter-proposal in the near future.
The U.S. proposal lacked such specifics and was not the outcome of the previous 4 or 5 rounds of negotiations. We will soon present our own proposed plan, once finalized, to the other side through Oman. Our plan is reasonable, logical, and balanced, and we strongly recommend that the American side seize this opportunity. It is certainly in the United States' interest to take this proposal seriously and consider it carefully.
It is important to highlight that the Islamic Republic Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei rejected any scenario in which Iran would forego its uranium enrichment program, to which President Donald Trump had an unequivocal response over the weekend.
What do you make of the Ayatollah saying that they have to enrich? They have to be able to enrich?
No, they won't be enriching. If they enrich, then we're going to have to do it the other way, and I don't really want to do it the other way, but we're going to have to.
What's your latest?
There's not going to be enrichment.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. As ever, it is important to highlight that TV7 Israel is a non-profit ministry with all of our productions 100% donation-based and therefore completely free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by the content of our programs, I would like to encourage you to donate. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Moreover, I'd like to encourage you as ever, pray for the hostages who've now endured 612 days in Hamas captivity. Pray also for the peace of Jerusalem and the salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.